Go.
Okay, good morning, or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. This is the coordinate plane that you learned last year in 5th grade, or you were supposed to learn last year in 5th grade. This is typically where the x values and the y values. Well, actually that is where the x values and the y values are, but just be aware that some problems that you're gonna have this year, 7th grade and in 8th grade, sometimes they replace these variables with different letters. But still, this is your independent variable, independent, okay? And this is y, or the vertical axis, is your dependent variable, okay? Just as you learned last year, you can plot points on the coordinate plane. This can be numbered in any scale you want. It's typically numbered like this, no surprise, correct? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. That's not a good 6. There we go. So if I were to plot a point right here, my x value, your x value comes first, your y value comes second, x comes before y in the alphabet. Hello. This is so this would be 2, and your y value, or your independent your independent value is 1. Okay? This is what we call origin, and that's 0, 0. If you had a point right here on the x-axis, x value comes first, your y value is 0. Hopefully that makes some sense, that you remember that from 5th grade, okay? Independent and dependent variable are different. And these coordinate points can form ratios. So let's show you that one. I'm gonna erase this up so you can understand. I'm gonna erase that particular point. Here we go. Okay, say for example that Mr. Ice makes $2 an hour. Is that realistic? Is that realistic? No. But is that going to help me out? Yes. So I make $2 an hour. So instead of x, I'm going to put h for hours. Okay? That is my independent variable. I'm going to have money, how much money I make. That's my dependent variable. I'll put m for money. Okay? So let's put some values in here and see what happens. So typically, I put my independent variable here, which is located on the horizontal axis, the x-axis, in this case it's h, for hours. And then my dependent variable is here, and that's moolah, that's money, okay? The money depends on how many hours I work. So I work 0 hours, I get $0. So I put a point right there, it's already existed. I work 1 hour, and I get $2 an hour, big money, so that would be 2. So 1, 2, okay? So again, I make $2 an hour, if I can spell. Okay, 3, so what would 3 hours, I would make $6. Does that make sense? All right, and I can plot that, 3, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ms. Rice is doing great with the counting. Now, you only need 2 points to form a line. And in this case, you can form a line. Sometimes you're going to have a graph of just points. Can hours be measured in fractions and decimals? Yeah. Can money be measured in decimals? It can be measured in decimals. So I can connect these points. It's supposed to be a straight line. Help me out. Just imagine that it's a straight line. And this line represents the relationship between my independent variable and my dependent variable, and it includes all possible coordinate points that could exist. Now, when you're starting to learn about this, we're going to have an entire unit on just this concept. You're going to have to understand graphs, right? And these tables. Sometimes these tables look like this. Typically, the independent variable is on top, and the dependent variable is on the bottom. Then you're going to have an equation. and your equation represents the rule. So this is the general formula. Your dependent variable, variables here, equals a number that you multiply by your independent variable. Okay? Typically, y equals something times x. If this is indeed a ratio situation, and this is a ratio situation, how do you get from 1 to 3? Times 3. Same here. That's telling you that's a ratio situation also. Hello. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So what? Your rule, this is going to be your rule. How are you getting from your independent variable to your dependent variable? What are you doing to get from H to money? What are you doing? This is your unit rate. In 7th grade, we call that the constant of proportionality. It's really cool. It sounds like you're saying something really super scientific, right? It's not really. It's your unit rate. What does 1 hour pay me? Right there. So, this is the equation that represents this table and this particular line, okay? So, you see this? Y equals 2x, okay? I can put these values in there and they should be true. If x is substitute 0, I'm going to take the 0 and substitute it in here. 2 times 0. What's 2 times 0? In a class, this would be a lot more fun because I'd hear kids, but it's 0. Good? Does that work? Then I had substitute 1, and that's 2. You see how these are matching up? I substitute in 2 times 3, and I get 6. Okay? So this is the equation, which is the rule. Now, this is a ratio situation. These are ratios. Because they're ratios, you're going to form a straight line. Okay? And you're also, when you, in this particular situation, you're always going to go through origin as well. That's what we're going to learn. But I hope this makes a little bit more sense than the workbook likes to use different letters here, and I think that can be confusing. They also like to switch your independent and dependent variable. And in a situation that when you're looking at cups of flour to sugar in a recipe, I don't think it really matters much. I think you can switch that around. But most of the time, your horizontal axis will be your independent variable, and your vertical axis will be your dependent variable. Your money depends upon how many hours you work. Okay? All right, so, but in the workbook, sometimes we're playing around with this kind of stuff. Okay? So I hope this makes some sense. And if you do, as always ask me questions. Thank you so much.